Hello YouTubers, welcome to my channel. So happy to have you here today with me. What are we talking about today? Well, I wanted to revisit a couple of things from the last video that I did about the statute. And I had a lot of people comment about the statute and how they didn't like it, and their personal opinions and even some professional opinions about the statute that are not in line with traditional ways of sculpting, or some things that they felt that were off. For me, I'm not someone who is a professional when it comes to looking at sculptures. I mean, I'll look at something and be like, oh, that's nice. Like, I've gone to look at things from museums and I can appreciate things that were sculpted hundreds of years ago. I don't know. I just look at it and I'm thinking, wow, how do you do that? How do you make these things? So I am awed by things that may seem simple to some people, or may seem very complex and intrinsic and very, professional and critical and strong at critiquing such things. But for me, I have a very simple eye when it comes to those things. So looking at that statue from its initial unveiling, it was a nice statue to me. Now, with that said, revisiting it and going back and looking at it again, I did have one thing that really struck me as off, and I wasn't really sure what it was, but then I looked closer at just different things. So I looked at the clothes, I looked at the people that she was standing with. And the one thing that I did notice was the hair didn't seem right. It seemed like kind of flat, because I went and looked at the picture, because someone tweeted the clothes that she had in the statue. They tweeted the picture that was from. And when you look at the original picture of the clothes, you can appreciate what the statue looks like, because you know that was based on this certain photograph. Now, having not seen that photograph when I first saw the statue, it just wasn't very impressive. I'm like wondering why that shirt, why did it look the way that it looked? It didn't seem very Diana-like. But then when you saw the picture, you're like, oh, okay, well, she did wear something that looked like that. So then I was able to appreciate the statues, the clothing better. But the hair seemed off to me. Now, Diana has had very different styles of short haircuts. And I thought, well, maybe she at one time took a picture with her hair like what was in that statue, and that's probably why he based it on that. But then I really didn't see that, and I don't think it was a common hairstyle if she ever did do that. But the hair seemed too short in the front and flat, and I think that would be the only thing that I would have an issue with in terms of the statue. Now, someone did write in the comment section about the girl looking too old. And I was like, yeah, she does look too old in the face to be a kid. She's like a grown woman in a kid's body. So that was off. But I do appreciate the diversity, the African descent child in the picture, in the sculpture. I thought that was point on, because that's Diana all day long. Overall, for me, having a simple eye when it comes to those things, I do think it looked like Diana. I can appreciate it for what it is. I'm sure the boys liked it, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I thought it was an okay statue, but I appreciate other people who have a much more critical eye on these things. But I'm learning to critique things a lot better based on your feedback. And that's what it's all about. It's about always being a learner for life. I'm always learning. I don't know everything. My opinion ain't the word. It's an opinion of my self-reflections or my self-views and context of things. Speaking of which, some of y'all gave me a hard time about how I pronounced the name of the third child of the Cambridges. Now, we know this name is spelled Louis. Okay? Now look, y'all. I'm American. If you can't tell by the way I speak, I'm American, okay? I'm not British. So I'm going to do things as Americans. And that's what you get when you come to my channel. You're not going to get a UK version. You're not going to get a British version of the things that I do. I'm not going to pronounce names the way you do in Great Britain or in other countries, Commonwealth. I'm just not. And I have a close relationship with this name that is spelled Louis. Now, once upon a time, long time ago, I actually had a boyfriend with this name. Okay? I called that name a lot. You know what I'm saying? And in America, we say Louis. That's how we pronounce it here in America. Now, I'm learning that over in the UK, y'all say Louis. How am I supposed to know? So some people have been writing to me, telling me, girl, you don't say that name like that. You say it like this. Okay. Okay. Now I know. So when I see that name, I'm going to be inclined to say Louis. But for the sake and appreciation for the way it is done over in the UK, I'll say Louis, just because I want to be correct in the way I speak it, since I am referring to this name in the British English context. So thank you for the adjustment. And as you guys can probably hear, Mr. Odie is down here at my feet snoring away. Now, a couple other things I wanted to bring to your attention back here. So what I have are some statues that were gifted to me by a family member. People, although they can't really see my likeness to the British royal family and all these things, whenever they see things, they always buy me things and bring me things. And this is some statues of the Queen in her younger years on a horse and riding with her side saddle like this. And this is her husband behind her with the flag. I'm assuming this is her husband. I could be wrong, but I'm going to be putting these back here. And as you can also see, I have a few more books that I want to eventually get around to. I got 3 Lady Colin Campbell books here. I have this book by Dylan Howard on the Royals at War. And then I have 2 more books here. And I've already talked to you guys about those books. And then I have this right here. This is the Little Citrus Tree Soaps. They sent these to me and I love their product. I'm not endorsed by them or anything, but you know, this does represent something about me and my channel, that my channel was clean. I am not one to have foul language or anything. And I don't want my channel to be represented in a way that is gossipy, but more informative and teachable and clean. And so it kind of represents that for me. And I think it is pretty. And I think I'll keep that there, just, you know, like my little background here. So you guys have a little history or information, knowledge about that. Okay, so getting on for today's story. We are talking about the death of the uncle of Meghan Markle. And, you know, the reason why I wanted to speak about this, because the audacity. And this just really tells you a lot about, you know, her. And I feel like you have to always come up and point out these things, because there are going to be people who are going to attach themselves to this couple. Now, when you're a public person and you live a certain way, your private life becomes knowledgeable to people, and then they can kind of base the kind of person you are based on your private life and make character assessments about who you are as a person. But I really want to point out this story because it says so much about the characteristics and the character of this couple. Because you doing what this girl has done really points out and shows people the kind of character, the kind of person she is. And I think there are people that are just going to ignore certain things about her, but you can't. If you really, really want to understand who this girl is, it's important to know how she treats her family and friends. And if you decide to work with this couple, to especially her, the wife, if you decide to make this part of your deal in terms of branding, to be not to be side by side working with this couple, you're making a conscious effort or conscious choice to attach yourself to this bad character. And I will not support anyone, and I'm going to go on the record and saying this now, I am not supporting anyone who willingly attaches themselves to someone of this character, because this is completely wrong. And we know that this couple is about branding themselves. This is why you don't hardly ever see pictures of their children. We have yet to see a picture of their newborn Lily. There's speculation about her even giving birth to these children and that these children even exist. The speculation is because there's reasons to speculate because of how they behave around these things. And I am appalled that anyone that takes up for this couple can see this story that came out about the death of the uncle, the brother of Thomas Markle, and really still like this couple after what they have done. So the article is Meg Uncle Tragedy. Meghan Markle's ex-diplomat uncle Mike dies at 82 after Parkinson's battle, having never met Harry. And then there was it came out that Meghan was completely devastated by the death of her uncle. Are you kidding me? You are devastated by the death of your uncle. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. Because this man had thought he was going to get an invitation to the wedding because he had helped her to get an internship down in Argentina because he was a diplomat. He had done things for her that I'm sure she was very grateful for. But yet and still, she could not even find it within herself to invite him to her wedding. But gonna have the audacity to put out in the news that she is devastated about his death when she had nothing to do with the man when she became a part of royalty. I despise people like that. It is appalling to me that you would even have the audacity to even put yourself in the news on the day of the statue unveiling of Princess Diana about the death of Mike. This woman has no scruples whatsoever. She will go to new lows, and it is just appalling. And I cannot for the life of me understand why people still take up for this behavior. It is so appalling. So I'm going to dive into this article and just talk about it because I think it warrants a discussion. And I think, if anything, it really, once again, shows us her character. It really does. So sources tell The Sun that Markle, who was known as Mike, had been battling Parkinson's disease and had suffered falls in recent years. Now, we know that she's never reached out to him. We know that Meghan never really cared about her uncle Mike because he was waiting for the invitation to the royal wedding. He never got one. He never got one. But it's really sad when people that knew you before you became who you are, that you treat them with such disdain and you don't even acknowledge them. That to me is reprehensible. That is the most egregious thing because you don't even have good grounding on who you are as a person. If you can just change like that from the moment you become so popular and high status, that when the people that knew you before you had the high status, that you act like they don't even exist. But yet when they die, you be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm devastated. My uncle died. Oh my God. It's just terrible. And you do it to make the news. You are sick. You are the most vile, disgusting user to do something like that. That is so wrong because she is that low. She is that cold-hearted. You know that song by Paula Abdul, Cold Hearted Snake? That's what she is. She is a cold-hearted snake is what Meghan is, because to have the audacity to think that you have any, like, you really care that your uncle passed. No, you just wanted to make the news so people could talk about you. So the news really came out as Prince Harry had returned to the UK to unveil a statue of his mother, Princess Diana. A source said Mike was lovely, gentle, and a soft-spoken man. And you can just look at the picture of the man. He does look like he is a very nice, soft-spoken kind of a guy. But this news came out around the time of the unveiling of the statue of Princess Diana. And, you know, this came out as a news release. So this was picked up as a news item right at the time of the unveiling of the statue. And it's remarkable that Meghan had a quote in here because she wanted people to be thinking about her when they should have been thinking about the death of the Princess Diana, because it was supposed to be her 60th birthday. Like, this news comes out around that time, shows you that they are stepping on the feet of another newsworthy item to draw attention away from that. And Harry is married to this woman that is purposely drawing attention away from his mother's tribute to shine some light on his wife and the death of her uncle that she had nothing to do with. But yet Harry is in a marriage, a willing marriage with this woman that is doing something so conniving. And speaking of Harry, about how he acted at the unveiling, just, yeah, people were saying in the comments on my channel as well that he seemed like he was on drugs. Yeah, he probably was on drugs. I mean, I don't know. But the way he was behaving, his demeanor, like I said, before he was yelling something, he just seemed very animated and uncontrolled and trying to save face. He just smacks of, like, he's trying to go out there and show he's so happy-go-lucky because he got mud on his face. And it was so obvious looking at him how he was behaving. It's like, you ain't fooling nobody, Harry. We see you. You ain't fooling nobody. We on to you. He was always happy to be asked about Meghan, but whenever he spoke to anyone, he mainly wanted to talk about his late wife. He loved her so much. And that goes to show you that this man had love in his heart, and he did things to be a good man, and it was not reciprocated by his niece, Meghan. And people will say, well, she didn't know her family. She didn't know them. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. There are uncles and aunts in my own family that I haven't seen for years or talked to. But if a situation comes up and I see them at a reunion or they contact me out of the blue, I'm going to be like, hey, how you doing? It is so nice to hear from you. Like, there is going to be an instant connection. Because just because you haven't seen or spoken to somebody in such a long time, that doesn't mean that you're distant, you don't have a relationship, and that if they called you, you're going to act like, well, I don't know you. No, but you have a history with them. So trying to say that she didn't know these people, that is not a reason. That is not a reason to not send them an invitation to your royal wedding. That is not an invitation to say that you don't know these people, because you do know these people. They have done things for you. They have given you opportunity that other people that did not know you as well would not have given you. But you got opportunity from the people that knew you before you got a big head and started acting like you all that. Meghan Markle, and I'm going to say her name because Meghan Markle is the biggest hypocrite, the biggest person of bad character that is in the public limelight that I know, that I will speak out against because of how she has treated the little people in her life, because she considers them little people because they can't do nothing for her. But she gonna be your friend and you can do something for her because she is an opportunist and she's a user. And those are facts. And facts of what she has, the facts come from how she's behaved It's not coming from me assuming. It comes from how she has treated people, things that she has said in interviews, how she acknowledges things, like the audacity to acknowledge the death of your Uncle Mike, being devastated by this death because it's at a time when you can try to say or take away from the unveiling of the Princess Diana statue memorial. Opportunist. Hurting because people are not going to support any brand that is associated with this couple because of their character and how they treat people. They added that he was quite well known in the community for being Meghan's uncle and would always stop for a chat to say how proud he was of, even though he didn't often agree with how she went about doing things. He would usually chat with a chuckle and say, "It's not every day that you have a prince in the family, though, I suppose." Yeah, so he was a humble man, and he had someone in the family, a royal member in the family, which this royal couple they wanted nothing to do with the nobodies, the little people that they considered them of their family members. Oh, but they're going to talk about the royal family. They're going to talk about them and call them racist because they have power. They have prestige. People know them. They're popular. So yeah, they're going to attach themselves to the royal side of their family while also treating them badly and calling them racist because there's something to be gained from them. But they're going to ignore Meghan's side of the family because there's nothing that they can do for them. Meghan does not need anything from them anymore, so she can ignore them and consider herself like a stranger to these people. And people that believe it, shame on you for not looking at her character or listening to people when they tell you about her character. People want to always give them the benefit of the doubt, but just look at the things that they have done to know that these people, this couple, are behaving in a way that is appalling and that you yourself would not accept in your own family. You would not accept it. You would not put up with someone doing this in your own family. But when you see this happening with this girl, you want to excuse it. That's not right to do. Women's Magazine that he had helped Meghan on her way to becoming a stateswoman when she was 20 years old. Mike said that he had secured Meghan an internship as a junior press officer in the American embassy in Argentina when she was considering a career in international relations. I mean, just think about this, you guys. Imagine you're 20 years old. You want an internship at an embassy in Argentina. Do you know how hard and difficult that is to get? That's not an easy thing to get. Like, you have to know people, or you have to go to an Ivy League school to more than likely get an internship like this. Like, the prestige that this man had to get her this internship was very high. So of course she's going to use her family to get this kind of internship because she couldn't have gotten it on her own. Like, she needed this connection to have this opportunity, but that she could not even reciprocate the favor by inviting him to her royal wedding just tells you a lot about her character. Thomas Markle was set to walk his daughter down the aisle, but had decided not to attend the ceremony because of his health issues. And mind you that, Meghan does no longer speak to her father because he had the nerve to have a heart attack when he was supposed to walk her down the aisle. So we know she doesn't even speak to her own father because his heart attack was too inconvenient for her. She's done with her father. His face often turned a bit dark whenever that was mentioned. I don't think that they were ever in touch with him to his dying day, they said. Yeah. So, knowing that your uncle is dying of Parkinson's disease, or knowing that your uncle is very ill, knowing what he had done for you in your early years, to ignore him and to never speak to them, to even introduce your husband to this couple, to this side of your family, is reprehensible. And for all the people that give Piers Morgan a hard time, that take up for Meghan, look at her character to know how she has treated people in her life. To understand why people like Piers Morgan and others who are so critical of Meghan, why we say the things that we say about her. because there is a history of her treating her family in the most appalling, egregious ways. And so we know that her father is not in good health either. So how is she going to treat her father that she knows is going to probably be the next to go? And is she going to reconcile with him? Is she going to try to understand what this man is going through and to say, hey, maybe I should just forgive him for what he has done? Because, you know, this is my father. He's done a lot for me. And I should reconcile with him and introduce him to my children, which these are his grandchildren. And I should introduce him to my husband. And also, she's down the street from the man. Like, he's in Mexico, she's in California. They're not that far from each other. But do you think she is going to make a point to see her father? She's not. What kind of person does this? What kind of person puts celebrity and people that you don't really know ahead of the people that knew you when you were coming up in your formative years, who had given you opportunity, that had showed you the ways of the world, had given you a good life? And now that you're able to have a wonderful life without being dependent on these people, you want to forget all of that and kind of push those people to the side. Like, I don't want nothing to do with you. Like, y'all don't mean nothing to me because I'm grown now. I got a prince as a husband. Y'all can go kick rocks for all I'm concerned. I don't need y'all. Oh, but I'm going to put out a statement that I'm devastated when one of my uncles dies that I didn't have nothing to do with, who helped me get an internship in Argentina. Like, I'm going to be that superficial, and I'm going to say that. I'm going to perpetrate. How in the world can anybody take up for this? How can anybody excuse this behavior? When you know good and well, had she did this in your family, you would be giving her the riot act. You would be setting her straight. You'd be like, girl, you don't treat your family like that. Girl, you don't act like that. You acting wrong. That is wrong. You do not behave like this. People who are upstanding, of good character, do not treat their family this way. Nobody has done something that bad that you do not speak to them anymore. No one has done anything that egregious for you to be behaving like this. So to all the people that want to say, leave her alone, she's a good person, or who take up for this behavior, shame on you. Shame on you, because you know you would not put up with this in your own family. You just wouldn't do it. But we're going to just say, okay, you know what? Just leave her alone because she Meghan Markle and her husband is a prince. And we like them. No, we ain't going to do that. We ain't going to do that because that's just going to make us just as superficial. And we don't want to be that way. We want to be upstanding character. We want to give people their props when they're due their props. And we want to tell people when they wrong. You don't do that. He was disappointed not to be invited to the wedding because he knew that a lot of the family wouldn't be. He knew that she already had issues with some of the family. But Mr. Mike was like, but you know what? I've been good to her. I haven't spoken out about her. I haven't said anything in the news media. I have given her this wonderful opportunity, you know, growing up. And, you know, why wouldn't she invite me to the wedding? But, you know, he upheld his hopes that, you know, he would have gotten an invitation because of what he had done for her. He wasn't well enough to travel even back then, but he would have appreciated an invitation to the wedding because he had really helped her a lot. He was good to her. And he never got that invitation. It never came. A phone call never came. No acknowledgement about meeting her husband. Essentially, Meghan used her uncle like she does a lot of people. She uses them to get what she wants, and then she moves on, and she doesn't want anything to do with you if you don't have anything that you can provide for her. Because, see, she's very superficial, and she's very much about the materialistic things of this world. No matter what she tries to show you when she does her charity work, when she tries to come out and speak in interviews to be this upstanding character, when you see her smiling rather uncomfortably about being in a place of around disadvantaged people, she is essentially using them for photo ops. She is using them for what they provide for her, which is giving her branding that she needs. And this is why my channel is about education. It's about exposing the character and behavior of this couple and how they have behaved, to say, look, what you see is not always what you get. You want to really get the correct information to know what someone is like. And the way they have behaved is so appalling that it just sickens me that you can be like this and people could still excuse this behavior. In 2020, he had encouraged the Duchess to reach out to her father before it was too late. And we know she hasn't followed this advice because she still has yet to reach out to her father, who we know just spoke to 60 Minutes Australia not too long ago and is still begging to see his daughter, begging, pleading with her. But she'll have nothing to do with him because she is so superficial. She is so fake and false that she will uphold something that she didn't like her father for doing something so superficial that she even does herself. Like, really, for real, you gonna be mad with your dad and you do the same thing that he did? It is unbelievable. People of my age and times are dying due to the virus. There is nothing wrong with being courteous and asking if they're okay. You won't catch a disease. You won't catch a bad rap for just asking if they're okay. It's about time that she should try to mend any differences she has with her family before it is too late. Because once they're gone, they're gone. And no amount of, oh, I'm so sorry, or I'm devastated to hear that he's passed away, is going to reconcile any of that. Because people know how you treated them when they were alive. To know you wrong, you perpetrating, you being fake and false, you superficial. I think that she should be in touch with her dad. Tom should be speaking to his daughter and his newest grandson, and now we know granddaughter. This was something that was written when he was still alive, Mike. And yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, people in our families do things that we do not like. They may make mistakes, and, you know, you owe them a courtesy to at least say, okay, hi, hello, how are you doing? But when someone has done a favor for you, when someone has actually been there for you, who have shown you the ways of the world, who have given you opportunity that other people would not have given you otherwise, because they don't know you, but your family know you, and they have given you opportunity, and they have done nice things for you. They haven't done anything bad to you. So for her to act like this just shows you, it's confirmation that what we thought in the very beginning was true. It's just confirmation. Yep, we were right. Look at it. Look at her. She ain't having nothing to do with her family. And before you know it, her father is going to be gone from this world, and she will have never spoken to him since she has come into the royal family. That shows you what she's about. And poor Mr. Markle. As much as I feel sorry for him, I do think at this point he should just let it go and never ever reach out to her again. He has really essentially done what he needs to do to say, hey, look, I did all I can. I yelled as loud as I could to the world what has happened. And my daughter still has yet to talk to me. So I think he would do himself some good to just go off, live a peaceful life, enjoy the family that he does have contact with, and just make his peace that his daughter essentially is a cold-hearted snake. Meghan Markle has famously said, not many people have asked if I'm okay. She would do well in this statement of a genuine crisis to ask her dad if he is okay.